Welcome into Steelers Latest, your daily spot for all news and information related to your Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm your host, Cole Denis, and please like and subscribe to the channel. This is not talking two sides of the Steelers, but let's get rolling as Rodgers' deadline fastly approaches. We're going to be addressing some of the quarterback possibilities, maybe a Rodgers comeback next year. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers. So the deadline is approaching. Schefter went on Matt McAfee's show to confirm there wasn't a deadline set for Aaron Rodgers. That was about a month ago now. So I'm assuming probably by the end of February, we'll know if Rodgers is going to be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. Now, is that the best option? Honestly, feels like just running it back with Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers. We bring him back in. Feels like probably the same results are going to happen. Probably another punt on a year, going with maybe a playoff berth, maybe a playoff win for the first time since 2016. But more than likely, it'd just be more of the same 9-8, 9-7, first round. That's it. Probably going to happen if Aaron Rodgers is the guy the Steelers decide to rock with once again in the year 2026. Love me some Aaron Rodgers throughout his whole career, but I think the time has come for him to hang the shoes up and sit out and be a Hall of Famer in 5 years. Come on. Sometimes you gotta know when to call it quits, and I think it's hit that point of time for Mr. Rogers. Let's talk about some of the options, though. We got a new option that has presented itself in the quarterback market, as Derek Carr has came out saying that he's willing to unretire if the right opportunity presents itself to him. I think he's seen what someone like Sam Darnold has been able to do and revive in his career. Derek Carr, always a solid quarterback. You know, he got a lot of hate in his final years of his career in the NFL because they weren't up to standards of what he was able to prove earlier in his career before his ACL injury. He had an MVP type season once. I mean, Derek Carr with the Raiders was pretty solid. He made them basically playoff contenders every year with his time there. His time in New Orleans probably throws a little bit of shade onto him, makes him less of a desirable candidate. Was with New Orleans, they were in a transition period. He was their transition quarterback. But I do think there is a possibility this could be the next Steelers quarterback if they really do want to go out there and make a splash in the quarterback position. There's not going to be a lot of QB free agents this year, not a lot of upper end potential in the class this year. So you got to get creative here. If you don't want one of the younger guys, Derek Carr definitely would be one of the more experienced quarterback options that the Steelers could bring in, and probably not feel really less good about our situation. I think Rodgers or Derek Carr is basically the same results. I think it is time to go younger with the Steelers QB room, and that leads me to my next three guys. I think Willis, Lance, or Howard could be the next quarterbacks of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We already got one of these guys in the building. Will Howard. Mike McCarthy has already been talking about Will Howard a whole bunch in his conferences. His short in his short period here in Pittsburgh. So wouldn't be too shocked if Will Howard is the next starting quarterback for the Steelers. Well, let's talk about a couple other guys in Malik Willis and Trey Lance. Both of those guys contracts and this year with their teams. I think Willis with the Packers, Lance with the Chargers. Willis has came in to games in Matt LaFleur's system and proven that he can be a quarterback that wins multiple games a year with good organization around him, with an offensive coach around him. Guess what? The Seahawks have both those things. I think Malik Willis, someone like Tomlin really likes coming out of college. We didn't go that route. We went the Kenny Pickett route in that draft class. didn't work out well. Maybe it's time to give another QB in that draft class a chance with Willie Fox. Also, he lands not a lot of opportunities to play games in the NFL. Hasn't started a whole bunch in his career in the NFL. There was always potential with Trey Lance. He's still pretty young guy when it comes to the quarterback position. Still to have 15 years left. If he had one of those long ramps like Tom Brady, like Brett Favre, like Aaron Rodgers, think that's gonna happen. That's always on the table for someone that could rebirth their career. You never know. Trey Lance didn't really look the best in his end of season start with the Chargers. They punted going into the playoffs, took the bye week. Trey Lance did. Sorry. Trey Lance did not perform well in the game. But I think there is an upside in bringing in one of these two players in Malik Willis or Trey Lance. Or let's just rock with our guy, Will Howard. He is a national champion. And let's wrap up today's show. Talking about what the 2025 season proved is possible. Sam Darnold is now the Super Bowl winning quarterback, and it wasn't because of him. No, the NFC Championship game and making the Super Bowl definitely was because of him. But what this year proved is you don't need an all-time great quarterback in the modern NFL to win you games, to win you Super Bowls. You just need a good roster around them, which we had last year on the defensive side of the ball. Our defense just kind of shat the bed. So if we can figure things out on that defensive side of the ball, bring in someone that won't turn the ball over, makes the right decisions. I know that sounds a lot like Aaron Rodgers, a younger guy that does these things, sometimes can take shots downfield. Maybe you're willing to give up a couple interceptions if the big plays are there. Probably not with our offense, with the talent on our offensive side of the ball. But if you can just find someone that can manage the game, we've seen in the NFC many years now teams with not elite quarterbacks, Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, now Sam Darnold, all making the Super Bowl, two of them winning the Super Bowl just because of the roster around them. I think this is showing in the modern NFL, you do not need an all-time great quarterback. In the AFC, there are a lot of great quarterbacks. Only one of them has really consistently won championships. Only one of them has a championship in this point in all their careers. So, what we have learned, the biggest takeaway from the 2025 season, which gives us faith as Steelers fans who are sitting here without a franchise quarterback, it's still possible. You can still win a Super Bowl in a year without a franchise quarterback. I know people weren't thinking this 5 years ago, even 2, 3 years ago, people weren't thinking this. But the past two seasons have shown that you don't need the most elite of elite quarterback play to win the Super Bowl in the NFL, as it was done throughout the 2010s, early 2020s era of football. But that has been it from Steelers latest. I've been your host, Cole Denis, and I'll see you tomorrow.